Good evening, good evening. 21 questions. It's a special edition. Have your say, one voice. And I'm your host, ICICIE Music. I'm going to put that right here. JK, how are you doing? Good to see you. I was going to ask you, JK, do you want to do the, if you're up for doing the quiz? Yeah, let me know that 5-minute quiz. Let me know if you're up for doing that. Who we got in the building? Storm C, Storm Cecil. How you doing? And come on, guys, let me just get this up for you. Marby's in the building. Good to see you. And thank you. Let me just send this to myself. 21 questions. This is we're calling it the One Voice edition, where we all come collectively as one voice and just share, man. We're just here to really just share and just see how everyone is doing in this period of time. It's a difficult time. And we just thought it would be important for us just to come together. Let's just speak in one voice and share what's on our hearts, man. Lots of different topics to get through. So you better strap yourself in. I've got my tea because I envision we're going to do a part 2. Come on, that tea is banging. Okay. Triple O in the building. Good to have you, man. And thank you in advance. All right, first question of the day. Let's get this crack-a-lacking. How are you honestly feeling? Yeah? Scale of 1 to 10. How are you honestly feeling? Let's check in with each other. Let's see how we are. Let's put a number in the comment section. Yeah, Storm, get some get some stew. What, just stew on its own, yeah? Oh gosh. Let me just log on to this. So run and tell a friend we are here. Marby says 7, I like that. 6.75 Storm, I like that. That's nice. No pressure on anyone else. Feeling good, been resting so you feel recharged, JK, nice. Good. Who else? Cool, who else is in the building? Let's get this started. Cool. All right, second question. I would like everyone to comment with a hashtag. I want you to comment with a hashtag just describing your mind state at the moment. For example, I'm tired. That's what we've got. We've got one there already for you. JK, how am I? I'm good, you know. It's been a mad week, but we're alive and we're breathing. A living dog is better than a dead lion. So, man is alive. Justina Antoinette, thank you for joining us. Yes, guys, give me a hashtag. I won't lie, I'm tired. In terms of what's been happening, I'm tired. JK says it's not the end. I love that. Olufemi said, I'm a 4, wish I could do more, but trying to get my mental health to 100. Aren't we all? You're not in the boat on your own. All trying to maintain, man. That's why we do things like this, all right? For us to come together and just help each other out, man. Help each other out. Cool. Who else we got in here? All right, and the last question. Would you rather have bushy eyebrows or long nose hairs? Ay, caramba. So write in the comment section, rather have bushy eyebrows or long nose hairs. Storm says bushy eyebrows. Marvy says eyebrows all the way. No worries. You know, funny. Clara, welcome. All right, cool. Well, guys, I'm going to get into it. Let's get crack-a-lacking. So today, normally we would have a guest on, but, big up to Shay Universe. And big up to Storm said I can deal with the eyebrows, the nose hairs are not it, 100%. So I spoke with our guest, Shay, and we said that, it would be good to reschedule it, but to kind of then use this as a platform just for other people to share how they're being, share how they're feeling, share their thoughts on not just, I guess, what's been happening over the last 2 weeks, but 2020 has been a lot for a lot of people. And we can only we move for so long, okay, before it starts weighing down on people. And so it's important for us to be able to express, be able to get stuff off our chest, and be able to relate with each other in the things that we're going through. So we thought we'd use this platform to do that today. I've got a rough structure in my head, but, I just want it to be free flow. It's really about you guys being given a platform to speak. You don't have to. But it would be amazing to hear from you in the different ways, whether it's through the comment section, whether it's through emojis, whether it's through going live. I'd love to go live with a few of you just to hear your thoughts on issues that have been happening and just where you're at. So please, if you would love to go live with me, you know what to do. Press the request button and I'll see everybody that wants to go live with me. And there's a few people I'm going to introduce on who I'm going to be talking about with certain topics. And if you want to relate with that, connect with that, you can do so, like I said, in the comment section, or you can actually go live with me. That would be amazing. This year has been interesting. We'll get into it in a second. But first I want to do the quick fire round. So is there somebody who would like to do the quick fire round with me? All right, so you've got a bunch of questions. You've got to answer them in the quickest time possible. Don't think too hard about it. Just a little bit of fun before we get started. Yeah. Who wants to go? Let's go. Let me know. Who wants to go? We got Beck. Who wants to go? Come, who wants to go? We got Shay C, sit down member. She's part of the team, so big up to you. All right, well, Marbies, I'm going to pick you because we're going to link up anyway. So let's get this crack at that again. You ready?
I'm slightly nervous. I'm a bit nervous.
Why nervous?
You said quick fire, so I'm like, is this going to be on brand? Is there something going to be said that like I'm going to have to do a statement?
No, you're safe. It's just going to be a quick fire round, 5 minutes. Answer as many questions as you can within the allotted time. Okay. Don't think too hard about them. It's just straight off the dome. All right, so let's get cracking. All right, let's go. So let's go. Favorite music artist?
Oh, ENDSARS.
Okay. Favorite song from her?
Favorite song?
From her, yeah.
Currently Slow Down. It's quite old, but I love it.
Okay. Next question. True or false, money makes people happy?
Oh, false. If I'm going like based on semantics. False.
False. Okay. All right. Finish this sentence. If I won the lottery, I would.
If I won the lottery, I would buy a couple of houses and go somewhere for the next year and just be.
Just, I like that. Just be.
Yeah.
What's your signature dish?
Either a lamb tagine or coconut jollof rice. Yeah.
I didn't even know such existed. Coconut jollof rice.
It's like a take on the traditional jollof rice, but mixed with literally coconut flavors. So yeah, really good.
Okay. Who inspires you the most?
Wow. Bold thinkers. I would just summarize it as that. I can't name one particular person, but anybody who is able to think outside of the box and is able to be bold with their thoughts and their opinions, absolutely love it.
Love it. And what's your favorite item in your wardrobe?
Favorite item in my wardrobe? Oh, this is so tough. Oh my god. I'm gonna pick this jumper currently. Like, it's really soft.
Okay.
I really like function as well as things looking pretty. So yeah, this, because it's quite soft.
Who's the designer? Give him a shout out.
Oh, it's Zara. We be shopping at Zara all day, every day. Like, that is my designer.
What's your happiest childhood memory?
Oh, probably my 10th birthday party in Lagos. You know, the party with the compound and the scary Mickey Mouse that doesn't look like Mickey Mouse.
I don't know. I was doing McDonald's parties.
Wow, yeah, I didn't. That wasn't part of my childhood. Sorry, there's some things that people say, and I'm just like, I don't know what that is. The closest I can get to you guys is Barney, because we had that in Lagos.
Oh gosh, I love that. Yeah. Okay, list 3 positive things about yourself.
Oh, I am resilient. I'm creative. I'm intelligent.
Come on, I like that you know it offhand. Nice. Greatest achievement so far for you?
Wow. Probably launching Marby's Kitchen and having it as a space where people can share and learn and grow.
Come on, are you preparing for Oprah or something? You just have this...
Listen, you better know it.
What was I going to say? Oh yeah, what kind of parent do you hope to be? Ooh. If you want to be a parent?
One who is understanding, even if and when my child kind of steers away from what I would expect them to do, or prefer for them to do. I would hope to be a parent who is understanding. Yeah. Okay.
Biggest regret?
Wow. Often sacrificing myself to have an emotional need met.
Say that again. Sacrificing yourself?
Yeah, to have an emotional need met. Sorry, my phone is like behaving. Yeah.
What's that? Break that down for me. What does that mean?
So I don't think I'm alone in this, but I think sometimes we know better than the choice we're making, especially when it comes to other people, humans, friends, romantic relationships. But because there's an emotional need, like an itch that we need kind of scratched, we sacrifice ourselves and what we need for something that's not necessarily good for us, just because we need
that emotion.
Yeah.
Come on.
So I hate when I find myself in that situation and have to learn that lesson multiple times. But yeah.
When are you the happiest? Wow,
when am I the happiest? Probably when I'm eating plantain. Oh, legit. It's like the love of my life.
I love it. When did you last cry and why?
Wow. When did I last cry? Probably earlier this week, because I made a decision that made me really angry at myself. So yeah.
Okay. And your last question, are you ready for it?
Yeah.
Would you ever have plastic surgery?
No. I'm risk averse as a person generally, and just putting that much control in someone else's hands, I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Well, thank you, because that just rolled off your tongue. Like, that was not for everyone that's watching. This was not planned. Like she just came on. But thank you.
Those were really good questions, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. 21 questions. So, let's look at this year. Like the reason I really wanted to do this particular edition was because 2020, I'm marking 2020 as it's the unexpected year.
Yeah.
It is the year that nobody could have written down. And I was going through my phone the other day, and I had a video of Drake in O2 when he did O2. And my wife got me tickets, and we went.
Aww.
And I was watching the videos back, and I was like, wow, there was no mask. This was like in 20. This was I can't remember when last year sometime. Around April. Yeah, I think I remember it was around April. No masks. Everyone just looked at ease. It was hyped. And I thought, wow, look how things have changed. Yeah, look how things have changed. This year alone, there's been so many things that have happened that you almost forget that they've happened.
Yeah.
We've had Ghost. Ghost died. You know Ghost?
No.
Ghost from Power.
Wow, I don't watch Power, so I was kind of confused for a second there. I was like, what am I missing? But thank you for the clarity there.
Yeah, we had Ghost passed away. Cardi B got kind of divorced.
But aren't they back together or something?
Yep, kind of divorced.
Yeah.
We don't know what that is. Meghan and Harry said peace out, and we're gone.
They did, and they're blossoming out there in the States.
Blossoming. We had the rise and we had the fall of Tory Lanez.
Wow, that was this year. Wow. Quarantine Radio was this year.
Yes.
Oh my God.
But we also had COVID and still do.
Yeah.
Lockdown. We had the George Floyd incident. We had Kobe and his daughter passing away.
Yeah.
Chadwick Boseman passing away.
Yeah.
We had the wildfires in America. Like so much has happened that you won't be able to kind of be able to contain it because our emotions have been pulled in so many directions.
Honestly.
Kind of thing. And I want to just ask you, what do you feel? What do you feel about this year one, and how have you handled it, and how would you kind of give advice on how to handle this year emotionally and mentally?
I mean, for me, I think in thinking about the response to, because I saw the post where you spoke about the topics for tonight, and I just thought like, okay, 2020, like obviously it's been a lot of change for most people, myself included. And I think every time I think about the year, it's the year that keeps on giving surprises, and not the surprises that you actually want. It's like sucker punches, and it just keeps coming, and it's just like, what is happening? And for me, the main thing that, kind of sticks out when it comes to dealing with this year is kind of building resilience muscles. Because I think it's easy to make plans when you have things like an ideal version of events in your mind. So, for example, if you were going to plan out a project, nobody, unless like you're into risk management, you wouldn't typically think of all the things that could go wrong. But I think, even with this year at the top of the year, okay, making like New Year's resolutions. I remember doing it with my accountability partner and coming up with plans and things that I wanted to do. And it's just like, by the time March hit, even when Boris made the announcement and he was like, lockdown, I don't know about you, but I was thinking, 2 weeks time, we're gonna be done. It's gonna be
2 weeks max. 2 weeks max.
We're gonna go back to normal. And as time just kept passing, and I would realize that, it's not 2 weeks, it's not 3 weeks. I don't even know if it's 4, 5, 6 weeks, whatever it is. That feeling of I can't see what's coming, and it makes me anxious because we have this myth of control, which I think someone shared earlier in the year. And I felt like that is a perfect kind of way to think about this year, where we've lived for so long having this myth of control that we know what's coming, we know how to plan, we know what to look forward to. And I think if this year has taught us anything, it's that you need to build resilience muscles. And part of that is, number one, being able to accept change. So just being in this space where I'm like, I don't know what's coming. I cannot see what's coming anymore, and I need to make peace with that, number one. I need to accept the change that comes, even when I don't like it. So whether that's changes to projects, I had plans to do live events this year, and it's just like, well, that might not really happen. And even when they lift restrictions, it's like, we can start scheduling it in, and then it's like, oh no, we're going back into like a mini lockdown. So it's this constant space of being willing to accept change, even if you don't like what that change is.
Yeah.
And then just finding ways to adapt. Like part of my thing this year, and even for some of last year, but definitely more this year, has been that it's no longer just survival of the fittest anymore. It's survival of the quickest to adapt. Like the quickest way to get sucked in and feel like you're hopeless and there's nothing to look forward to is being adamant that you're going to stay the same way. You're going to have the same game plan. Like, yes, you can have the same goals and the same hopes and aspirations, but this year has taught us, like, you just need to be able to adapt. Like, you need to be able to, the skills that you have and the job that you're doing, like, how can you adapt into what's actually going to be needed post this whole pandemic, whenever that is. How can you adapt your plans to, like, suit the current climate, right? How can you adapt the way you love on people in personal relationships to suit current restrictions, right? And I think for people who might be struggling with change constantly, that might be like the thing to look for in terms of 2020. Maybe you're just not, you haven't learned to accept change that you don't like and figure out ways to adapt as quickly as possible. Which to me kind of, it sums up the whole like resilient approach for this year. It's like, okay, I can see the change. How do I bend? How do I become malleable? Like how do I just adjust, really?
Yeah, become fluid to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, even with like you mentioned with the events, you know, the SITDOWN is a predominantly event-based company. And I remember, you know, like you said, before Boris was going to announce it, I was like, don't you dare. Don't. Calm down, relax. It's not that deep. Don't you dare, because
you're paying for deposits for these venues.
Okay then. Like, ooh, we had a good year last year. We're trying to do that. And when he put the lockdown in place, I was like, oh, okay, all right, cool. Let's give it 2 weeks and then let's get over this nonsense, and then we can just keep. And then it was set in place, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, well, I'm not going to adapt this because at that time everyone was doing lives. And I was like, well, why should we do lives now? Because we're going to be back in 2 weeks, so it don't make sense. So I thought, okay, I'm not doing anything. And all around me were lives.
High five.
I said, I ain't doing nothing. And then my friend called me, a good friend of mine. He said, so what are you doing?
Wow.
I said, huh? Because I had an idea to do something, but I thought, no. He said, so what are you doing in this time? How are you adapting?
Yes.
I was like, boy, I'm not. He goes, you need to just adapt and think of something that you're going to do. I spoke to my team, and we came up with the idea of, 21 questions, and it's been such a it's interesting because everyone's on lockdown.
Yes.
It's given me more accessibility to people.
Yeah.
Whereas if we weren't on lockdown, I don't think because people are running around doing everything else.
Schedules and
they wouldn't, exactly. So it was almost like it was a good thing being able to adapt, and just like you said, being able to understand that something has changed.
Yes.
And you need to accept that.
Exactly.
It is what it is. It's not what you want it to be.
That'll break. That'll break. Sorry, I'm a shouter. Listen, that'll break. Okay?
And that's what I've had to tell myself in so many situations. It's not. It is what it is. It's not what your imagination or fantasy wants. It's not that. So you better go back and look at what it is, and tweak and adapt how you do. And that's just life in general.
Exactly. And it doesn't mean like becoming this dark, jaded, because I think sometimes as human beings, we can be like quite extremist. So we think needing to adapt and accepting that sometimes things aren't what you want it to be means, okay, like I'm going to be this jaded and dark person that never has any hope for anything or any expectation. And really, that's not what it is. It's like, it's because even with you adapting and doing 21 questions, it's still staying true to the core of what the SITDOWN is about.
Certainly, yeah.
But just finding a different means for it, right?
Yeah.
So it's not to say like, okay, like because I think that's the flip side of where some people might end up at the end of this year, where I'm not going to hope for anything. I'm not going to have any expectation. But it's like, no, it's more about being aware of what's going on, being aware of the change, accepting the change, and then having enough, that's the other thing, enough self-awareness of your values, of your mission, of your goals, the core of those things, and then letting that guide your response, like in terms of how you adapt.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of us, we're just kind of like a deer caught in headlights.
Yeah.
We haven't taken the time to really know ourselves. Like even sometimes with the unrest, like part of outside of, okay, a pandemic and being locked down, like we still have had so much civil unrest in different parts of the world. And you can often feel very hopeless and frustrated because it feels like you're doing Twitter warrior and Instagram warrior, right? But it's like, well, how can I actually bring about any change?
Yeah.
Right. I remember after the George Floyd kind of like when things were kind of brought to the forefront in terms of Instagram, the protests began. I remember like being in this room and trying to ignore the stuff on the timeline for about 3 days. And I think on the third day, like when things were really at their peak on the Saturday, I remember breaking down in my, like, I hadn't cried that much in a long time. And it's kind of like, I didn't know him. I'm not even in America. Technically, there are many like things that I would identify with before saying, okay, I identify as a Black American, for example, because I'm not. The common thing there is that I'm Black and they're Black, but that struggle and that connection was still felt. And I just remember sobbing, but then feeling like, okay, what do I do with all this emotion? Yeah. What do I do with all this frustration? And I think after having a conversation with someone and just having the message of like, okay, you have to channel that energy somewhere. And the only way to really fully know how to channel it is to know what tool you have, right? Because the way someone will, like, the way one person will handle, I don't know, gold, for example, will be different from the way another. It's still the same resource. It's still the same frustration. It's still the same raw energy. Yeah. But knowing yourself, knowing what you have, knowing your mission, I don't love to use the word purpose, but kind of knowing your role, it will affect the way you respond to a lot of these things that we see, because I think what we're all learning is our activism doesn't have to look the same way. So yeah, I think part of 2020 is forcing us to look inwards, man, and just figure out like, who am I and how does that affect how I respond to everything that's coming my way? Yeah, yeah.
How have you, in relation to that exact statement you just said, coming from that George Floyd season, it's crazy, season into the last kind of 2 weeks, especially, you know, how it was heightened yesterday with SARS and everything, with Nigeria and the shooting. How have you, how can I put it? How have you managed what's come your way? Because it's just been an onslaught.
I'm struggling to manage. I am struggling to create. I think following the George Floyd incident, wow, I don't know the language like to use properly, but yeah, following the peak of that, I think for me, it was really, again, about looking inwards. And I think the thing that kind of guided my response was a quote, I think it's by Toni Morrison, I'm not sure, where she talks about the very intent or purpose for racism is to distract you from your actual work. Where, for example, I'm paraphrasing very loosely here, but it's like they say you're not smart enough, so you spend your time trying to prove you're smart. They say you're not creative enough, so all these distractions. And I'm not taking away from the fact that, you know, the injustice is real and it does need to be tackled. But for me, I think in that period, it was just about going back to like, okay, what am I here to do in terms of service to people, my audience? What am I here to do in terms of creative work? And I just really like channeled energy into doing that, whether it's sharing particular resources, creating things that are still in line with transparency and conversation, which is much of what Marby's Kitchen was about. I just channeled my energy into doing that. For the past 2 days, I don't think I've been in that space. Like, I'm trying to get back there and trying to say, okay, like, create content, but it is hard because I still need that space and that time to grieve. Yeah. But part of this is helpful to me because part of the way I process is through sharing, through conversation. Okay. So that's why I love the fact that you have created this space to do so. Yeah.
That's good that you said that, because I think a lot of people are in the space that you talked about of grieving, and it's a collective grieving. Like George Floyd, that time is a collective grieving, and I think, like you said, sometimes we do look for personal resonance in that situation, but in reality, the only personal resonance is that struggle. And so, with what's been happening recently, people are still grieving. It's funny. Again, we're trying to put the language around it. People are still grieving from George Floyd.
100%.
And the many things that keep coming, and then hit with this situation with SARS.
Yeah.
And they're not in a space to create, to communicate, to even articulate what it is that, is hurting them. I reached out to other people as well, and they said, you know what, to us, like, right now, I just can't. Yeah. I said, no worries. I hear that.
Yes.
Even me, we had the guest, Shay was supposed to come on, but even yesterday, I was thinking, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it, man. Yeah. So that's why I messaged her. I was like, if I'm feeling this, I was thinking she might be feeling this as well. Yeah. She was. Yeah. But then I thought, okay, well, just like you said, what is in my hand? And this is in my hand. Is it hard? 100%. Before I was coming on here, I was thinking, gosh, man. But it's for the people. It's for the people.
And that is normal. And I think just the last thing that I'll add to that is in terms of grief, because again, you chose to come on here and do this. Like for me, prior to coming on here, I was like, I'm going to curl my wig. I don't have enough strength to do makeup. I'm going to curl my wig. I'm going to put on music and kind of lift my spirits as much as possible, right? And I remember hearing someone talk, she didn't specify what the loss was, but recently on Instagram Live, she was talking about grief and the fact that, yes, we do need to create space to grieve and to feel those feelings, and not to kind of suppress them, because eventually, like I always say, a quote that I heard, nothing that you bury ever goes away. It's just waiting to bear fruit at some point. So if you don't allow space for that thing that you're feeling, it's going to come back at some point. Yeah. But I love the angle that she kind of took, which is like, grief is a guest that she welcomes with open arms, but she also has boundaries around how long grief is welcome to stay. And obviously that's kind of a complex statement, because grief is this ongoing thing, and like, it comes and goes, and it's almost like a cycle, right? Oftentimes, but just having boundaries around that visitor and saying, like, you're welcome, but tomorrow, I think she said, I'm going to open up the curtains. Like, being intentional about taking yourself out of the lowest part of that grief, and not to say that, something won't trigger you at some point, but it's just like, open up the curtains, like, buy a plant, put on some music, do things that make you feel good, so that grief doesn't become this thing that swallows you up. Because again, like, currently, I think we are in a different space, because we see the news all the time. Like, there is no switch off. It's not the 6 o'clock news. It's on our phones all the time. So sometimes there is no turn off for that sadness, and it can become addictive. It's kind of like, someone who is addicted to like being in an abusive relationship. Like, it can become, you're just used to like the intensity of that emotion. You have to find ways to put boundaries around that, and to say, like, you're welcome to stay. I want to feel that grief and feel like I'm in solidarity with my brothers and my sisters around the world. But hey, in order to stay functioning and moving in terms of my mission and my goals and aims and what I have to contribute to the world, that I'm hopeful for, I'm going to put boundaries in place, so that tomorrow, yes, I do pull the curtains open. I do go for a walk, and I do light a candle, put on some music, curl your wig, like, talk to a friend, whatever it is, just finding ways to like grieve in the most healthy way possible.
100%. Yes. Thank you so much, Marvie.
My absolute pleasure. I started going. I think I've been silent for the past 2 days. So like...
No, but it's good, man. And is there anything that you want to share just before you go with anyone?
I would just say the thing that's been resonating in my mind is just like, what do you do with it? Whatever it is, whether it's the grief, whether it's the sadness, and it doesn't have to even be the collective grief. It's like, things that you might be going through that maybe you haven't had the chance to share with someone, or even just like we're in the season where people are affected by SAD, seasonal affective disorder, if I've said that correctly. You know, like what do you do with that? Like giving yourself room to feel, but being intentional about how you're going to channel that. I think otherwise the effects of 2020 will literally just suck you dry.
Yeah.
And you will feel like there is nothing to do but to be hopeless, but to wallow, but to be swallowed up by the emotions. So I would just say always for the rest of the year, even we don't even know what 2021's got for us. We're praying for the best, but like try and remember that you're building resilience muscles, and just always have the mindset of like, how can I accept the change? Like you said, even if I don't like it, but also what do I do with what I'm feeling? How do I channel it into something that feeds into this vision that I have for the world and for my life? Yeah.
Love it. Thank you so much. I hope you stick around.
Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. Stick around. We've got different guests as well coming on.
I will.
And we'd love to see it in the comments as well.
Yes,
yeah?
Indeed.
Guys, make sure you check out Marby's Kitchen. Amazing stuff. Coconut jollof rice on the way.
Yes, it's on the website if you want to check out the recipe.
Come on, click the link in bio.
Exactly. Thank you.
See you.
Bye.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. You know, I'm glad that she was able to just share and especially like what she said, is because this week has been hard for a lot of people. And many people have said that same statement about feeling helpless, feeling hopeless, not knowing what to do, not knowing how to be of use. But like Marby's was saying, it's about you stepping back for a second and asking yourself, what's in my hand? What is within my power to affect change in my area? It may not be going to march near the Lekki toll gate, you know what I'm saying? But it might be making your next door neighbor aware of what is going on. It might be helping to fund different organizations who are on the grassroots of what is going on in Nigeria, and not just in Nigeria, across the world, in Africa. So much stuff is going on, and it might be your chance to just channel that grief into plugging into those systems. I want to shout Ayo, because Ayo, you said that you wanted to contribute something. So I'm going to send a request to you right now. Hopefully you can net.
Oh,
How you doing, bro?
yo, long time.
Long
Hope you're
time.
good.
How you doing? You good?
Yeah.
What do you want to share?
What Marby's Kitchen was saying, she was spot on. I think about grieving, that really hit home. Like just before, because I was going to say something else, but just before, what she said about grieving hit home about the idea of like us making space for us to grieve and not be addicted to the pain, because it's like, I was just having a podcast with my boy, like literally just like right after like I saw your notification, and it was just like, yo, like this is mad, because it's like we as people need, especially young people, we use like social network as almost like our news, our entertainment, our forms of communication, are also ways to spread awareness for content, if we're content creators, almost everything now basically it's become almost like the central I guess
Hub.
Yeah, exactly, and it's just worrying, because it's like now it's like really hard to escape the idea of like this idea that they keep trying to tell us that the price of a melanated life is low basically, and it's like that doesn't need to. It's almost like in some ways it's really good, because in some ways it's bringing loads of people together. So in some ways it's like suddenly people are remembering that like they've got relatives in Nigeria. Some people suddenly starting to remember like, okay, cool, like not everything that is happening bad is only in Nigeria. There's loads of things happening in Africa as well that we have to also pay attention to. So there's really good things with the way people are like creating unity basically.
Yeah.
But that being said, it's like very worrying to know that like I'm 27 now. So But there are people who are younger than me who are turning 18, 19, 20, 16, and they're seeing this. Like, and that's like, because you know how like our generation, like we weren't born in the internet, so we were just before the internet, so we had time to still have real life conversations. The idea of face and rejection, like face on, like when you go and try and move to a girl and you deal with that, and it's like, I know it sounds like a joke, but as in that idea of like dealing with real life situations away from the screen. So there is that, and we have our foundations set in those places. So now we apply that to everything else that we do on the media side of things, and it's like, okay, that's like, we can still deal with it, but like we know how to separate. But for the people who are younger than us, who are going to be seeing this life that's almost being created on the media, I'm bro, like I can't even put in words how I don't know, like worried I am for the next culture. Like I want to be really optimistic and believe that things are going to get better, and that we're going to get more unified as people. And as that happens, I also have to be real and be like, yo, I have to make sure that the generation that are younger than me understand that there is a life away from the media, and it's your life that makes it's parts of your life that make the media awesome, and not parts of the media that makes your life awesome.
That is beautiful, man.
Yeah,
that is beautiful. I love that, man. That's deep, because like you said, it has become a central hub. So even if you are strictly a content creator, you get bombarded with majority of the time negative information on a constant daily basis. I remember Stormzy talking in an interview when they asked him, they said, why did you come off Twitter? He said, I don't think we are born to receive so many opinions in a 24-hour space on who we are, on what we think, on what's happening. He just says he doesn't think it's healthy as a human being to receive so much opinions, not even that are not even your own, in one 24-hour period. And I think now that this phone has become that central hub, just like Marby's was talking about, it's about being able to, even as you're saying, curate your experience with this handheld device. What is it that you allow through? What is it that you filter out? What is it that you react to? What is it that you say, you know what, that's not for my response? And even what's been going on with the last 2 weeks, and and I was talking about the collective grief. The collective grief is magnified tenfold, especially online, because every single scroll is the same thing. Every single tweet is the same thing. So you feel it even more. If somebody died in your family, majority of the time it's your family and you that deal with that grief, and close ones. But when it's on a mass scale, you're grieving with millions of other people who are sharing that same emotion, and it can be hard to, like you said, get away from. But like you said, again, we can only be hopeful for the future, and again, play our part in those who are younger than us, trying to show them, like you said, the other part of life that doesn't have to be Instagram. The other part that doesn't have to. You don't need to take a picture of that food. You're going to eat it. Yeah, it's okay. It's going to be there in the next 10 minutes, in the next 5 minutes. But Ayo, thank you, man. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it.
No worries.
Yeah.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, please go.
I don't want to hog up on the space, so I don't know who else is next to speak, but I think the final thing I want to make point is a final thing that I want to end on a positive note is that, first off, that like I have friends who like really pay attention to like numbers of almost like populations in different places. So one of the things that they were saying is that they reckon, like, I think by 2025 or 2050 that 1/3 of the population will be African. So of the whole global population will be African, and that most Africans, in terms of like that place as well, a lot of them are like, they're kind of like getting younger. So there's going to be like, basically there's by 2050, he reckons there's going to be much more young Africans on the earth than there will be old Africans, but they're also going to be almost like 1/3 of the population of the world will be African, let alone obviously melanated to a certain degree. And it's not like I'm here trying to promote this whole idea of, you're like, dark skins need to be on top. It's not to do with that, but it's just the idea of, I basically just want to make sure that while I'm alive, that I can contribute. And I feel like a lot of people are also going to do this as well. A lot of young people are starting to realize that we also have to be the change, in terms of like, we have to make sure that by the time that we are adults and fully developed adults, that we have created a space, we have created a reality where we don't have to have discussions about racism anymore. We don't have to have discussions about systematic racism and all these type of things, all these and all these feminist ideas. Like, there's going to be so many things, hopefully, that our generation are so accustomed to and so aware of and informed about, that we can actually really make the change. Because I feel like the generation that was before us, our parents, they had the potential to know a lot of these things, and they've obviously gone through the civil rights movements, all these type of movements. However, though, I don't think there's ever been a time where someone can video record something that happens in Nigeria or China or somewhere or somewhere else, and within like seconds, everyone else around the world can see the same thing. Crazy. So on that, do you know what I mean? So on that aspect of things, even though I was saying, your life isn't on social media and your life is what makes social media, on that aspect of things as well, I'm just praying, I'm really hopeful. And I kind of feel like, things are getting better, and maybe just maybe things kind of have to implode and explode on one front for things to become better on the other front. So yeah.
Makes sense.
Well, thank you so much for having me on this, bro. Much love.
Thank you for your voice, man. It matters. Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Peace, bro.
No worries. Love that. I love that balance. Thank you, Aya. Talking about the importance of real-time living, but at the same time, how this online platform and this online living is actually helping shine light on oppression, shine light on situations that are happening in the country that we would have never known about if not for the Insta lives and the videos of the last few days. They could have just buried that Lekki shooting situation and said it never happened, and we would believe it. What would we know? But this documenting age is really shining the light on situations that have been hidden before. And so I remember somebody mentioned that 2020 really is a year of uncovering. We are seeing so much be uncovered because of the tools that we have. Okay, cool. Big up Jess for bringing this to the light. Big up Wayne Jordan in the building. Wayne, would you be up for talking? I'm gonna send a request to you. Triple O, we're gonna get to you in a sec, bro. Let's see if he accepts it. I didn't even tell him I was gonna do it. If anybody does want to talk, this runs out in about 10 minutes, so we're going to start another one. But please leave your comments in the comment section. If you do want to talk, you can let me know, and we can do a request. But let me know how you're feeling on the topics that we're talking about. If there's anything that you want to discuss, let me know, man. This is a two-way conversation. All right. I don't think you want to answer. Okay, cool. I'm going to go to Triple O, a good friend of mine. And I'm going to ask him some questions. What's up, bro?
Yo, what's really good, bro? You good?
I'm good, man. You know how we do. Long time. I haven't seen you for a while. I haven't seen you like face to face.
It's been a minute. Can you hear me clearly, yeah?
I can hear you clearly, yeah.
All right, cool.
You've always got your mood lighting.
Yeah, because I was trying to, I'm creating, and it just helps me like be in a creative headspace, because I think for me, like the current climate of things, I need an outlet. I need a space to kind of put some things together and put my head in a better space by just putting everything down.
Yeah.
In a way that is healthy for me. I remember. I mean, I always make reference to this, but the conversation that we had about 2 years ago, and one thing you always said to me was just keep writing, keep writing. Yeah. That really stuck.
I remember.
That really stuck with me. So,
I wanted to ask. We've got about what's the time? We've got about 10 minutes on this, and then we're going to go start our part two. But two things I wanted to bring your way was in this year, everybody's locked down. And it has heightened, whenever a situation has happened, it's heightened the response to it. And people feel like they have to speak. But they not only feel they have to speak, they feel other people have to speak. And so there's been this continuous witch hunt of which celebrity hasn't said anything on this topic? Which person with influence hasn't said anything on this topic? Tell me what you think of celebrity bullying and performative justice, doing things just because it seems to be the right thing to do. Is it fair? Is it right? I mean, we had the Beyonce thing happen as well.
Yeah. I think with everything that's going on, it's so easy to look at people in positions of power, authority, status, or who have a platform, and feel that they have to speak up on something that they may not be aware of themselves, they may not have knowledge of, they may not have the correct information. It's just because they have a platform. And yes, because you have a platform to a certain degree, you do have a responsibility. But I think just throwing that on anybody and everybody who does have a platform is a little bit unfair. I do believe that just because, and then the flip side being, because you do have a platform, that's not an excuse not to educate yourself on whatever's going on in society, whatever's going on in the world. So it's two-form. Now, I was speaking to a friend of mine today, and he, so he was on Travis Green's Instagram page, and I think Travis must have put out something in general of late, just promoting something. And somebody went into the comments and said, "Oh, you haven't posted about ENDSARS. What's the matter with you?" My friends went onto that person's page. They hadn't posted about ENDSARS.
Wow.
And then he responded to the person that typed that and said, "Hold on seconds, but hold on, Travis did post something about ENDSARS and quoted the date, and then but you yourself, you haven't posted." So it's like, as human beings, we're so quick to kind of want to slander and bring somebody else down. And I think that is wrong. That's unfair. That it's too much pressure for any one person to kind of have, purely because they have the platform to speak up on something. Now, with regards to what you were talking about and performative tweets
justice
and things like that.
Yeah.
It's a sticky one, because I do believe that as individuals, we do, if you want to speak up about something, or creating awareness about something, there's nothing wrong in that, because people would then say, "Oh, this person's only tweeting this or posting this because everybody else is posting it." That may be the case, but at the same time, a level of awareness is being created and highlighted to a particular issue, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I can't judge the motives of every single individual who's posting. I can't say, "Oh, you posted this, but when you posted this, where was your heart? Where was it?" Like, I can't do that, and nobody can. It will be very ignorant for anybody to think, "Oh, that post was a performative post and that post was a genuine post." Like, there's no criteria, there's no measurement for that. And I think it's very, very difficult to tell what is a performative post and what's not. So it's mad, because there's no right or wrong answer in this. And just to kind of encourage anybody who is kind of seeing everything that's going on, I don't want anybody to feel that they have to post something purely because everybody else on their timeline is sharing something. That sense of pressure is it can be too much for any one person to bear.
Do you think Beyonce should have said something earlier? Because the argument there was that she was when it was time to engage in the African culture, she was on the front line. But when it was time to speak up vocally and publicly, she was then pressured. You got the press release that comes out, etc. Her mum saying, "Why are you not pressuring my daughter?" Would it have been more easier for her to have just spoken out in the beginning, regardless of does it look good, does it not look good? Or could she have just done what she's doing behind the scenes and not even fold to the pressure?
See, again, it's such a difficult one, because especially with her recent Black is King documentary and everything she's been doing in that vein, it's all about African culture and lifting up the Black experience and promoting the community of togetherness within the African community. So if you place yourself in that position, you know, just for example, when we talk about individuals who maybe within the Christian faith who call themselves to be pastors or in leadership position, there is a level of expectation that is going to be placed on you because you are in that position, and you just have to accept that. You just have to accept that. So Beyonce now saying, I'm going to champion everything black, I'm going to champion everything African, I'm going to champion everything that comes with that culture. You have now placed yourself in a position where whatever comes with that, you need to be prepared for that.
True.
And if you're going to highlight and celebrate the African experience within the culture, within the arts, within that vein, you also need to be prepared to speak on, if the opportunity or if the time arises, the other parts of the African experience that comes with being an African. And so staying quiet would almost kind of like, well, hold on, you're talking about this aspect of being an African, but you're not really talking about this. You're not, using your platform to share. But I'm not saying this that we should be pressuring. I don't feel she should be pressured. I think she should just be aware of the responsibility that has now fallen upon her, as if she's going to champion, that whole aspect of being an African, of being black, and everything of that nature. And that's just a fact. Yeah.
Does a tweet from another argument was, does a tweet from Beyonce do anything? She can do it and then go and do what she wants. Does a tweet or a statement from Beyonce hold enough weight to do actual work in that area?
See, the thing is, people will celebrate what they see. What they don't see, they won't celebrate. So somebody could be doing amazing work for community and culture behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But because they're not doing it on a public platform or in a public arena or in a place where everybody can see what they're doing, it can be seen as you're not doing anything. And I think that's very, very unfair, and it's a very ignorant approach to take. So I don't know what she's doing behind the scenes. I don't know. And again, do not underestimate the power of awareness. So it may not, no one tweet from any one person is going to solve the issues that we have in this world. I don't care who you are. There is no platform on social media by any one person that has that amount of power to resolve any kind of world issue. A lot of these issues stem, deeper than just any kind of post. That being said, I think it's, if she can bring awareness to a particular thing through a tweet and a post, cool. Who are we to kind of discredit that? Because I don't know the people that follow her. You don't know the people who follow her. You don't know the arenas and the areas that she has now made this issue kind of aware to. So we have to kind of just really be mindful of that. And I think it's really unfair to kind of shoot people down because that's how they've chosen to support the cause.
Yeah, and I think Marby's talked about that, letting everybody be able to digest, understand how they receive the situation and how they want to respond. Do you know what I'm saying? And letting people respond how they want to respond rather than being forced into a formulaic response that has nothing to do with their heart. Some comments here. Marby says she has global reach, so it raises awareness. Olufemi, it's about being educated with regards to what you affiliate yourself with. That is beautiful. I love that. What else have we got? Marby's also said, however, also aware that if we think it isn't shared, it didn't happen. And that is, talking about what I was talking about as well, how life is being dictated by the online environment, and whereby if it's not shown on the online, didn't really happen. Right, we're on 50 seconds. So what we're going to do, guys, we're going to stop this one, and then we're going to start a new one. So thank you for joining us so far. Jump onto part 2, and if you're watching this back, click on part 2. All right, 21 questions. This is One Voice edition. Let's get it cracking. All right, we're going to see you on the other side.